Hey everybody, welcome to the workshop. In today's episode, we're going to be messing with the table saw again. Now, when I bought this table saw, later on after I saved up my pennies, I was able to get the router table to go on the right side of it over here. Now I've already got a router table, and this right here is the lift for it, but I really wanted to have a bit more of a space saving kind of setup. Since I've already got this much space already being taken up by the whole unit, why not go ahead and put the router table right here as well. Plus, I really enjoy having the cast iron tabletops. If you've never had a cast iron tabletop, up until last year, I never had one myself. My first one was my bandsaw that I have, and I didn't think it would really matter one way or another until I got it. Once I got it, then I was like, I love it. I wish I could have all my tools to be, or all my large power tools anyways, to be cast iron tabletops, because they're so nice to work on, especially once you put a little paste wax on there. They're nice and smooth. Everything it's just nice. You can use them as assembly tables if you need to, making sure something is flat, square, and so they make good reference tables as well. And I've just really been enjoying having that. So that was another thing I wanted to upgrade. Now, this whole upgrade assembly that I'm about to do was not cheap, and I had to save up for a while in order to do this. So while it looks like I'm just throwing a whole big bunch of money into this at one time, I'm not. I've actually been doing this since last year. So we're getting close to a year to be able to afford all these tools. So don't expect that just because I'm on YouTube that I'm just sitting there making it rain, because I promise you that ain't happening. So what am I doing? Well, the only thing I'm taking out of my router, my old router setup, is going to be the router lift. This router lift is the Incra router lift. So far, I've been pretty happy with it. Now, just like any other router setup, this particular one does have the screw right here, and it is exposed. So regardless of your router table setup, you really do need to make sure that you are cleaning out your router lift, so that way you can have good smooth performance as you're going along. And this one is no different. However, as long as I keep it cleaned out, it's giving me nothing but good performance. So I am pulling this one into here, but that's the only thing that's going to be going into the new setup. Now, this is the DeWalt DW618 router. This is the bigger router, and which one is it? This is the 2.25 horsepower router. Now, this is what I had inside my old table. Now, if anybody out there has actually used a router like this, one thing that you'll note too is that in here is all of your holes for the fan, and then all the exhaust actually blows out of here. Now, in a router table situation, this is really not very good. The reason why is because as it sits, it's going to be sitting up like this, and you're going to be doing your routing here. Well, where does all that sawdust go? It goes right into here. So that means it clogs it up. I've already had some of these to get clogged up and burn up because of this. Even when you blow them out, unfortunately, you're not getting it all out. Like this one right here. I mean, I'm just sitting here moving the thing around. Even after I've blown it out, I'm still getting stuff coming out. So this one is still working okay. I'm going to try to blow it out some more as I'm getting even more stuff coming out. So that way I can put it back into the bases that it came with and be able to use it as a regular router. Now, what am I replacing this with? Well, what I've decided to go with is JessEm. JessEm right here has got their router, and it also comes with a motor control unit with a digital display. So that way, this is going to do a few things. One thing that I dislike about a router setup like this is it's nice that it has an actual speed control. That is a nice thing to have, so that way if you're working with a large bit, you can slow it down. If you're working with a small bit, you can speed it up. so you can adjust it to whatever size bit that you're working with. This right here has the control on the outside, so it's much easier to access. When this thing is mounted into the router lift inside the table, and you also have the dust collection box, now you've got to sit there and get down, open up the dust collection box, get a flashlight maybe, reach up in there and start adjusting it. So when I was looking around trying to upgrade and I found this one, I was like, man, that's going to be really nice. It's got the on-off power switch right there, because that's something that you want, so you're not having to try to reach in and turn on your router that way. And it's got the speed control right there too, so I can adjust everything from the outside. So it makes it, since I haven't used it yet, I'll say in theory, it's going to make things significantly nicer to be able to work with, and I'm not going to have those issues with having to get in and out of the dust collection box. Another thing, as I was just mentioning, you get all the sawdust in here. Another reason for going with the JessEm is this particular model is supposed to be able to have a different setup as far as cooling. The cooling actually comes in through holes on the side, and I think goes out the other side. Which brings me to the second thing that I did. After buying the router system, I've got this hose adapter kit. Now the hose adapter kit is supposed to be able to plug onto those holes that are on the side of it, and then they plug into the dust collection box, and so that way you're getting fresh air from the outside, which, yes, we all have sawdust in the shop flying around, and if you don't have one, get yourself a dust air filtration system as well. Highly recommend those. So, but the outside air is going to have a lot less in it than all the chips and everything that are getting sucked down, straight down at the site of the work. So I bought the hose adapter kit to go with that. Next, I also bought the box to go with it as well. And all of this just should be working with this. This table saw, I forgot to mention, is Harvey. The router table is also Harvey, or the tabletop, I should say, is Harvey. So all of this should be working just fine with this. The last thing that I got is I also got the Harvey router table. Let me see, make sure. The compass router table fence. Make sure I get the wording right. The compass router table fence. And it's in Imperial. So I'm here in the US. So I got this to go along with it as well. So basically I got the entire setup. So I'm going to take you along from start to finish on getting all of this set up. Now the first thing that we're going to be doing is taking the router lift before putting the router into it and getting it set up in here, because the one thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that this surface here, the face of it, is going to be nice and level with the face of the table. We don't want to have something to be getting hung on it, whether we're coming out or in feed. Doesn't matter, we want it to be nice and flush. So that's going to be the first thing we do. Then I'll hook up the router table, hook up the box, and then probably end with this. So this is what we're going to be doing today. So if this is something that you're interested in, come along with me today on Adam's Workshop. All right, first step is getting this installed and level. Now all it takes to get it installed is to literally just set it into place. Now how does this thing actually lock in? Well, it locks in right here with this lobe. So this lobe right here is all it takes. So we just take a Allen head and turn it, and as you can see, it sticks out when we turn it. And then we turn it back, and it sinks back in. So that is how it's actually locked into place. Now that we know this, and it just sits in, how do we level this? Well, what we have here, all the way around, and there's a grand total of like 14 of these set screws that are here all the way around. And this is how we level it. So what we do is we bring the set screws up so that way the surface of this and the surface of the table are going to be flat together. So that way we don't have anything hanging. Now the way I'm doing this on this particular table is I can actually access the screws from up underneath. So what I have done is I've gone ahead and screwed the set screws down below the lip right here. And I'm only allowing about 4 of them, 1 in each corner, to actually stick up. And so what I can do is I can get the entire thing flattened out with just those 4. And so this way I'm not sitting there trying to adjust every single one. Since I can actually access it from up underneath, what I'll do is I'll get just those 4, because what you have to do is you have to tweak it, put it back in, set it, take it back out, and so it can be a pain. So having to do 14 of these is that would be more than I'm willing to deal with. So I'm going to break it down to just 4, 1 in each corner. Once all the way around is good with those 4, then I'll reach up from underneath and then screw each one of them till they actually hit the top of this. So that way everything is still flat, everything is good, and they are supporting the bottom of the table, but I'm not having to sit there and tweak every single one of these. So now it's in. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these squares. This is a Woodpecker's mini square. This is probably the cheapest thing that they actually sell, but it's pretty nice. I bought this for my scroll saw to make sure the saw blade is actually square to the table. So now that this is down, I can just take this and I can run it across. And if it hangs like this, then that means that the table over here is going to need to come up. So we can go all the way around. This area over here is okay. See, this is not too bad right here, but you can see that this here is too high. This is too low. This right here is good. This is just a smidge high, and this is a little high. So what we're going to do is work our way around. So I'm going to just start arbitrarily and say, okay, closest to me is extremely close, but it needs to come down just a smidge. So we're going to start with the right corner. We shouldn't take a whole lot. Now that side is good. Here is good. You hear me hitting on this right here, the locking for the spindle. That's not actually here. So this corner is good. Now we're going to move on to this corner. This corner is a little low, so we're going to bring this side up. and nothing is hanging. So now, bring y'all up underneath here. I hope you can see and see all of them hanging down here, here. So now, I'm just going to adjust everything till everything is touching. Excellent. One more check. Perfect. Now, all I got left to do is to turn the lobe, or the cam. And now that has got it locked in. So, all right, next thing to do is unbox the router and the control mechanism. Sticker, instruction manual, the router itself, and I can say this guy is definitely bigger and beefier than my old one. Looks like it came with a little tag talking about the taper, bearings were checked, vibration rating, electronics checked, RPM checked. So we got a little inspection tag here. And we have the control box, your potentiometer, on, off. Got some extra pieces and parts. Looks like a couple of extra brushes for the motor. Got 2 wrenches. Size, I don't know. They're not stamped on there. And the new collets. Looks like we've got the 1/4 inch and the 1/2 inch. Excellent. Let's get the old one. Yeah, the JessEm is significantly bigger than the DeWalt. This one is a 2 1/4, I believe. Yeah, that's what I said. This is a 2 1/4 horsepower. This one, I believe, is a 3 or 3 1/4 horse. So significantly bigger, should be able to power through a lot more. I figured it was gonna be bigger, but I had not opened up the box yet, so yeah, it's definitely a lot bigger, heavier. Ooh, looking forward to this. As I was talking about before, this one has the air ports here and here. Okay, so this right here should be where we plug in our, and where did I put it? Over here. Our hose kit as well. So we have the rings, screws, and the 2 hoses as well. And instructions, I think. Okay. Let's see. These fit straight onto here. Yep. Okay. So it looks like the hoses just fit straight onto the little air ports right here, and then yep, then they just slide onto right there, so they can be taken on and off. Looks like relatively easily. And then it has the hardware to be able to mount them to whatever box you have. Excellent. So the next step is to mount this to here. Ooh. Okay, we're going to have to take off the feet. Whew. Let's see what the best way. Okay. I don't know how many of these it's going to take. Like I said, I have not tried this out ahead of time. Looks like all of them will be able to fit. Okay. Okay. Now on this particular router lift, you have these little feet right here that help to clamp to the shaft here, and there's, let's see if I can show it, a lot of different holes there, so that way it's kind of a universal, if you will. So it's just a matter of finding the right holes and getting them lined up. Where did I put the other screws? Ah, here we go. Now, goes on that way. What did I do with this? Oh, right here. Okay, I don't know how well that you could see this, but I took these two spacers, feet, whatever you want to call them, over here, screwed them down. These two I couldn't, but I still wanted to leave them in there so that way they help to take up some of the space in here. Then I took the one Allen wrench and tightened this up, and this clamps it down. This right here, this little screw comes over, tightens down, and it's got a little set screw so that way it helps it to not back out over time. And the one thing that I forgot to do is I pulled it back out, because you're supposed to take the lift and pull it all the way up before you go placing this in here. I forgot. So now I should be able to put it down in here. And now okay. As a matter of fact, while I'm at it, I think I'll put a little bit of lubrication on the screw. I'm going to be using some WD-40 dry lube. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and install the box. The box that I got is a metal box, and it comes from Harvey. Now, unfortunately, it looks like 3 of the corners got dented, but I don't think that's really going to hurt anything. Right here, we're going to take this little 4 little screws out. This right here is where the cord's got to come out. Right here is where the fitting is going to go on to that we're going to hook our hose to. On this side, it actually has, dadgummit, it's got a little adjustable airflow section there, so that way we can dial in just how much air we want to have flowing through. Also has this little door right here for the access to the router itself. Now, something I did not realize until just now is I bought the extra hose set for this thing. There's nowhere to put this unless I drill some holes into the metal. So that's going to have to be something for a different day. I'm not going to try to do that right now. So what I am going to do is start off by taking this off so I can run the cable through. And by the way, these little screws right here, there are actually nuts on the back that are actually welded on, which is a nice little touch. And it goes flying. This right here is just a little split ring that goes around the cable, and this way it doesn't chafe or anything in between the metal. I don't know how well this is going to get around there, but we're going to do our best to not break it. Next, we're going to take off the screws and then mount this piece for the dust collection. And these are the exact same way. They actually have little nuts in them on the back that are welded on, which is nice because this way you don't have to try to fiddle with the nuts and trying to put it together with the bolts at the same time. All right, now we're going to attach this to the underside. It comes with the hardware, and one reason why I chose the Harvey box to go on the Harvey, so that way everything matches up and hopefully makes everything a little easier. Okay, now it's time to unbox the fence. This is one of the things that I was kind of been looking forward to on this because Harvey does have a pretty good fence. So they've got the master rip, which is the one that came on this table saw. They have the new Big Eye, and I think they even now have an electronic Big Eye. It's extremely expensive though. I think it's like about $1,000 for the first gen Red Eye, but the new electronic one I saw on 731 YouTube channel when he went to, I don't remember what he went to, one of the shows for woodworking, and he went to their booth and got to see all the stuff, and I think they have, that's where I saw that electronic Red Eye fence or Big Eye fence, and looks like it'd be pretty awesome to have one of those, but whew, I have no idea how much that bad boy is going to cost, because I mean just a fence alone for the big Red Eye fence alone without the electronics, like I said, is $1,000. Yikes. This right here was also not cheap, but it also wasn't $1,000. So, but I am looking forward to this fence though. So let's get this sucker unboxed. I need to shut up. Hey, look at there. Actually comes with its own little Allen key set. Now that's pretty cool. Instruction manual. It's got 2 stops on there. It's got a piece of some MDF here. And from here, you get to see all the bits and bobs. So these 2 are supposed to be able to unlock it so you can move it back and forth and lock it. And these right here give you micro adjustments on the thing. And then, let's see. Here, here. Okay. Should fit right into these slots here. Let's not have it lined up just right. Well, wait a minute. Well, wait a minute. I feel like I'm coming up just shy. That's tight. Oh, good gracious, that is tight. Yeah. Well, when all else fails, let's look at the instructions. Am I doing something wrong? Okay, I'm back. After looking at the instructions real quick, I noticed that I had 2 things I was missing. These right here have like the T-nuts on the bottom, but if we look down here, there's a slot right here that they have to go in, and then that way it rides, it has to go down through there and up underneath there and then slide inside the rail. I was missing that, plus up underneath here there's another T-nut for this rail right here as well, which this little nut right here can tighten it down. What this is for is the first of several different adjustments. You can loosen up the main locking lugs, take this nut and lock it down so it basically locks the fence from moving, and then you can actually micro adjust it here. If we look right here, you can see that we've got different graduations in thousandths of an inch. So this right here will micro adjust the entirety of the fence back and forth. So that was what I was missing as far as getting it in there straight. So things to note on this one, it does come with the MDF spoil boards here that can be replaced. You've got these 4 are 2 knobs on each side that you can loosen up. When you loosen up these 2, then they can slide back and forth, and then you can tighten them down. And it's the same thing on both sides. And then, like I said, these right here actually lock the entire thing down, nice and solid. It's not going anywhere. Even with the micro adjust being up, it's locked down. And then the last thing here, or the next thing, is this adjustment right here. This adjustment right here is actually for this side. So if you're wanting to joint a board on this thing, you can actually do that. This will be set as the main reference, and then you can actually adjust this out. You can see down here there's micro adjustments as this in thousandths of an inch too, from 0 up to 1/4 of an inch that you can take off, and it will take this spool board here and pull it out. So you can joint boards. You also have the nice inch markings on here, and this is a plate, so you have to be careful with this because, as you can see, this can actually slide out. So if you're going to use it as a reference, keep that in mind. So you can move it if you need to. You also have 2 of the stops, Harvey branded stops. They fit right into the T-slot. I say that and then it doesn't want to fit. Like so. So you can have one here and have this one over here. So that way you can have stops on both sides. So if you need to make a cut, a stop cut on, you can actually set up both stops so that way you can have your stop cut. So that's pretty nice. Obviously the dust collection hose, I did get the dust collection hose set up, and as I promised, I did get the box set up as well. There's just this one bolt right here. There is a clamp, let's see if I can get it right here, that helps hold on this post. This pole is just the overhead dust collection for the saw, and so I just took that bolt out and put it in there. Is it the greatest? No, but it is pretty solid on there. So I do have to be careful with the cords. I'll have to keep it unplugged when I'm not using it, but it is on and is working. You can see the digital display. So this thing looks like it's quite nicely made. It's made out of aluminum. And here's something else that I didn't even know about it. Right here, you've actually got little bearings. So as this thing moves back and forth inside the slot, it's got the bearings in there. So all in all, the quality of the fence is extremely nice, and I'm liking it so far. I really look forward to making some awesome stuff with this. So now that we've got everything going, we've got to have first startup. So here we go. There's the collet has been tightened down, so the collet's not going to fly off, even though I don't have a bit in there. We're not going to run it long. And where did I put my thing? We'll lock the spindle, so the spindle won't go anywhere. Everything is clean and clear. First start. Well, you seen that and you heard that. This bad boy can run, and that wasn't even the fastest. That wasn't turning it all the way up. It still had a little bit more it can go. I don't think I need to run it quite that fast. So, it looks like this sucker has got a lot of power. The only thing that I'm disappointed in so far is that I can't hook up my, my hose adapter kit, which I will be able to in the future. I'm just going to have to get me a hole saw bit probably, and a metal hole saw bit, and be able to drill into it so that way I can hook them up and get fresh air intake to it. Until then, I'm going to have to make sure that I keep everything clean until I can get that done. I'm not sure when I'll be able to do that. But this bad boy is looking awesome. The fence is awesome. The router is a beefy boy. I look forward to being able to do some awesome stuff with this thing. So probably I have this nice new router table, big and beefy and ready to go. And I've pretty much just got cheap, big box store bits. I probably need to get me some good bits so that way I can actually be able to do some good stuff. And I do have inserts for this thing already. The original inserts that I got when I bought the original one, I have all of those. I don't have it on here, but I've got multiple inserts. So I'll be able to do whatever it is I want to do with it, whatever type of bit. So looking forward to that. I got some more projects coming. I'm looking to increase my woodworking skills. I've got other projects I'm doing like leather crafting. I got some jewelry making. I do a whole lot of different things here. I don't shy away from too many different things. So if you see something on here that all of a sudden maybe it looks different, well, guess what? I like to make stuff. And if it's something I think is cool, I'm going to make it. And hopefully this router table is going to give me a chance to do that. I'm hoping to be able to start making some boxes. I found a book that even tells you 52 boxes in 52 weeks. Don't know if I'll be doing that much because that's a lot to do. But if it helps me to up my woodworking game, I'm game. Let's do it. So, thank you so much for coming along with me as I upgrade my router table. This has been a lot of fun and I'm looking forward to using it. So, if this is something that you'd like to see more of, please consider sharing, and subscribing, and I'll see y'all again next time in the workshop.